Let's move on now. The war between Israel and Hamas militants in West Asia has reached Gaza's biggest hospital, where thousands are trapped, and officials say lack of fuel has caused deaths of premature babies and critical patients. Hamas's health ministry has claimed that all hospitals in northern Gaza are out of service. Medical services can barely be administered in northern Gaza, as the largest hospital in Gaza, the Al-Shifa hospital, has ceased to function, and fatalities among patients is rising. As a blistering Israeli assault continues in the Gaza Strip, the WHO managed to speak to health professionals at the hospital. They described a dire and perilous situation, and it was not functioning as a hospital anymore, with constant gunfire and bombing exacerbating the already critical circumstances. A total of 5 premature babies and 7 critical patients have died in Al-Shifa hospital, according to the deputy health minister in the Hamas-run Gaza Strip. They fear the death toll among patients will rise in the coming hours. Gaza's Hamas-run health ministry further added that at least 2,300 people are still inside the Al-Shifa hospital. In an update shared by the World Health Organization, a doctor in the region said that the Al-Shifa hospital, or the Shifa hospital, can no longer accept patients. Ambulances have stopped evacuating the wounded Palestinians and bringing them to Al-Shifa. According to the medical staff, 40 patients in the ICU face death if no fuel, water, or even oxygen is provided to them.
The situation now is very bad. We don't have connection. There is no internet. Sometimes we have some reason on the call phone. We're on the 4th floor, and also there's a sniper who attacked 4 patients from the inside the hospital. One of them has the gunshot directly in his neck, and he has a quadriplegia, and the other one, he has a gunshot in the abdomen. Some of the people which actually go outside the hospital, they want to go to the south, they bomb them also. They bomb the family from the Shifa hospital today in the morning. There is no electricity actually, there is no water, there is no food. So our team is exhausted.
The Israeli army shared footage of troops leaving jerry cans of fuel outside the Al-Shifa hospital. We were unable to independently verify the video, but Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said the hospital had been offered fuel but had refused to take it.
Offered actually last night to give them enough fuel to operate the hospital, operate the incubators and so on, because we have obviously no battle with patients or with civilians at all. And I think every civilian death, every dead baby is a tragedy. But that tragedy should be placed squarely at the responsibility of Hamas, that is keeping its military installations inside hospitals, its command posts inside hospitals, inside schools, inside UNRWA, UN facilities, and so on.
The Israeli military said it had placed 300 liters of fuel at the hospital's entrance, but Hamas authorities were preventing the hospital staff from collecting the badly needed supply. Although Al-Shifa director has told journalists the Israeli claims were lies. On the contrary, according to the Palestine Red Crescent Society, they received 76 trucks loaded with aid from the Rafah crossing. The aid administration and organization said the Israeli occupying authorities have not permitted the entry of fuel so far, and it's not just Al-Shifa hospital that has ceased to function. According to the Palestine Red Crescent, the Al-Quds hospital, the second largest in Gaza, has also ceased operations due to a fuel shortage as Israeli forces continue to bomb the besieged enclave. According to the United Nations humanitarian agency, 20 of Gaza's 36 hospitals are no longer functioning since Israel announced the complete siege on the Strip. Palestinians continue to flee northern Gaza as they evacuated from a number of hospitals that were bombed. They say they are struggling to find a safe place to be. As Israel's military pushed deeper into dense urban neighborhoods, Palestinians joined a growing exodus of people heading towards the south to escape the fighting. Gaza officials say the Palestinian death toll from the war has surpassed 11,000 people. A spokesperson for the Israel Defense Forces said on Sunday its troops were continuing to deepen raids into the heart of Gaza City. Meanwhile, negotiations to free the hostages taken by Hamas militants and other terror groups to Gaza are intense and ongoing as Qatar continues to mediate deal-making between Hamas and Israel.
So is there a potential, Minister, is there a potential deal?
There could be, but I think the less I say about it, the more I'll increase the chances that it materializes.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has also hinted that there could be potential deal to free hostages, but pushes back against growing international calls for a ceasefire. He says Israel's battle to crush Gaza's Hamas militants will continue. Mohammed Najib is a journalist, war correspondent and security analyst. He is now joining us live from Ramallah. Mohammed, good to see you and welcome to WION World is One. The Israel Defense Forces say that the soldiers will assist in evacuating babies from the hospitals and also that they will no longer bomb hospitals. Instead, fight Hamas in nearby areas. First of all, is this happening? And when they say they will evacuate the babies, how are they going to do that? And can they be trusted?
Yes, the humanitarian situation at the northern Gaza hospitals are a catastrophic and unprecedented situation. As at Al-Shifa, there are 500 kidney failure patients who are difficult to be evacuated. 60 patients are on the ICU unit, and there are 40 babies who are difficult to be evacuated. So the Al-Shifa hospital asked the Israeli armed forces to guarantee the safety of other patients who will be evacuated from the hospital. The hospitals in northern Gaza, as you mentioned, the Indonesian, the Al-Quds of the Red Crescent and Al-Shifa suffers the shortage of fuel. Yesterday, the Israeli armed forces offered 300 liters, which is enough only for 30 minutes operation of the generators at the hospital. But what the Palestinians say is that they need more than 30,000 liters at least to guarantee the functioning of the generators and carrying out and offering the medical services for the patients who need to be connected to the medical machines. So the situation are difficult at the moment, and it's threat the life of patients who are in this largest hospital. And for your information, that not all the Gaza hospitals have emergency departments that can deal with injured. There are others for other disease or mental disease or whatever. But those hospitals like Al-Shifa, Al-Quds, and the Indonesians have advanced and huge emergency units, so which enable them to handle and to provide medical services for those injured by the Israeli armed forces. So that makes it catastrophic if they go off and stop providing medical services to the patients.
Mohammed, ever since the death toll in Gaza surpassed the 10,000 mark, the IDF has been a little bit cautious, even with their information sharing on social media. Do you think Israel will eventually bow down to global public pressure for a ceasefire? Briefly.
Yes, there is international. At the beginning, the world was sympathized with Israel on 7 October of what happened, but after that, when it started targeting the hospitals and the medical staff and ambulances, and this is against the war law, international law, humanitarian law, so the international community and even the close friends of Israel, such as the United States, cannot defend the Israeli position of targeting the hospitals and the medical staff. And the Palestinians want to send supportive medical staff from Ramallah. They are hundreds of trucks of medical supplies are awaiting on the Egyptian side of Rafah crossing. They need more and more, but the Israelis don't allow. They allow yesterday 76 trucks, but the Palestinians say they need more than 200, 250 trucks per day of medical supplies to be able to carry out and to provide the services. There are 27,000 injured, and it's unprecedented pressure on those hospitals. It's not a normal situation. So they need fuel, they need medical supplies, they need the supportive staff to handle this and to have a safe area and environment that enable them to transfer patients from the field to those hospitals. So in addition to that, there were some 14,000 homeless Palestinians who were forced to leave their houses in northern Gaza, and they asylum to those hospitals to take a shelter to stay there. They have no other place. So that increased the burden on the hospitals.
Mohammed Najib, thank you very much for talking to us today. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.